Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very, very special AMA for CryptoKnights. And we have the pleasure to welcome the next project that we have joining us for season 1, and that is PlayEmber. So we're here with Hugo and John from PlayEmber. Guys, introduce yourselves and let us know about yourselves and the project.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Hugo, so one of the co-founders of PlayEmber. Yeah, thank you very much for having us on, and super excited about the whole project. So I'm more the gaming developer co-founder. So I've run a few mobile gaming companies before, and got into mobile gaming kind of by chance. I was doing like websites, and to be honest, that was super competitive. It was like early 2000s, and just kind of fell upon gaming when my cousin was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun to do a game where you just cut stuff in half?" And that's all the game was. It was called 50/50. It was all about cutting something like exactly in half, like 50.1% to 49.99. And that was it. It got loads and loads of downloads, and we thought, okay, let's chuck in the websites and go down gaming. And years and years later, and like hundreds of millions of downloads later, met John at a company, and that's where we kind of started PlayEmber. So I'll pass over to John.
Yeah, hey Kenny, Joseph, great to talk to you again. I'm John, the other co-founder. So my background actually started off on like gaming tech. I built a really early ad network in the early days of mobile advertising, and with my co-founder, we sold that to a US software company. And actually, that's when I went down the crypto blockchain rabbit hole, not necessarily gaming, like three sort of bull runs ago with all these sort of like crazy ICOs and yeah, the really, really early days. But then on the Web 2 side, I kind of carried on and moved into the publishing side, making sort of hyper casual games, as well as working with like major brands. I've worked with like Paramount Studios, Nike, Hasbro. Love making brand-led games, and then always had the thought in the back of my mind that you know, blockchain and gaming is going to equal something pretty powerful. So when I had the pleasure of meeting Hugo, I was actually the CEO of a games publishing company looking for top studios, and then Hugo and I put our brains together. And really, when we looked around in the early days of like crypto gaming, we saw like loads of DeFi, lots of stuff about earning. But when we looked around for like fun, playable, casual games and rich IP games, we didn't really see much, but we saw lots of people talking about mass onboarding, right? And we just didn't see it. So we were like, okay, well, we know how to make casual games. We know how to like make amazing IP. And that was really our thesis 3 years ago when we started building, is how we could use mobile games as a great vehicle for consumers to basically discover blockchain powered games. For us, it was never about Web 2 versus Web 3. So fast forward kind of 3 years, you know, PlayEmber already the biggest, you know, casual games ecosystem and platform. We've got 40 plus predominantly mobile games. We've got 2 on Nintendo Switch. We have a couple of browser games. We have 3 partner games in development. So we're all, as well as having a platform, we also publish third-party games that we can dive into for Sappy, Pixelmon, and Cool Cats, with more to come. So it's been a great 3 years so far, and just really excited about this next step, and of course the show.
Yeah, we're really getting excited about that, and we've been bugging you guys lately. Can you fill up this form? Can you fill up that form? And then you fill up that form, and can you fill up another form? I'm just kind of thinking of what are new forms can I give you to fill up. We have one more though.
Right, it's all the unsexy side of, you know, people just see the TV show at the end. They don't see all of this stuff behind the scenes, right? Exactly. Yeah, all the organization, all of the calls, you know, the travel, like preparation.
Yeah, see the logistics in the back end, do they?
It is hard work, but Dixie's doing a great job plugging you guys. And, you know, I mean, I know you're busy, right? So we have like, I think 50 people to coordinate, right? To fly over this location, we gotta get the hotel. We want to get a hotel like 20 minutes from the studio, and get a transport to get you guys from the hotel to the studio, and do like intense filming.
Don't forget the transport's got to be quite big, because our mascot's coming. So our mascot is like...
Your mascot is coming?
Oh, you're bringing Envy. It's Envy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
MB's coming, so we need to send you the specs of the mascot to make sure MB's head fits on like the bus or the taxi or whatever transportation you're providing. The head is huge.
That would
yeah,
be
yeah.
amazing content, by the way, filming all of that behind the scenes stuff of you just trying to cram MB in the back somewhere.
So when we were at NFT Paris,
Mhm.
we had to get these really big taxis, and we're in a taxi, and the taxi driver pointed at this massive bag we had MB in,
Mhm.
and basically pointed at it and said "cadavre," which is body,
Uh-huh.
because he thought we were like just like transporting around some dead human around Paris. But it gives you a sense of the size of this mascot.
Wow, amazing. All right, good thing I asked. So I can note this down, right? You know. So yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of preparation, a lot of work going into this. Super excited to have you guys in the show. I think, I'm going to go into the introduction about your project, but I just want to check if people are coming in. I think the numbers. It takes a while for people to come in, right? I don't want them to miss your introduction, so I just want to check a few things. We've got a whole bunch of questions loaded up from Kezia, so I think the numbers are quite good. I think I would like to show MB later. Kenny, do you have do you have it somewhere with you?
Well, the mascot.
Yeah.
We've got. I mean, there's some lots of footage on Twitter. If we can drop something in the chat.
If you give me about a minute, I could get it.
Do it. Yeah,
Oh, just about there.
I want to see it. Yeah.
Go get it.
Yeah. Do you want me to put some of the content in our? I don't know where you want to put it, but I'll drop it in our chat if you want to pin it to.
You're getting the real live MB coming on the show, right?
I think it's going to get you the MB head.
I know he's going to put it on. I have a feeling.
It's difficult to put on unaided. It's definitely a 2 to 3 person job.
Okay, I tell you what. All right. So while he's doing it, right? Why don't we? I think the numbers are coming. Why don't you give an introduction to PlayEmber? Right? Is that okay, or you wanted Hugo to do it?
No, of course. Here we go.
Well, that's my
word.
That's enormous. That's just the head. That's brilliant.
You're looking a little bit different.
So that's basically, he's gone now. That was going to be the next hour. Hugo's just going to sit there with the head on.
So that's MB, right? Heavy. It's going to be a show.
Yeah, right. I'll send you some tweets. We can pin it to But thanks to everyone that's just joined. So I think Joseph, you asked. So PlayEmber, we're just over 3 years old now, and we make casual games. Usually across kind of 3 genres, so like casual games. So I mean, if you've ever played Candy Crush, like that's a match-3 casual mobile game. We make sort of hybrid casual, idle arcade games, and then hyper casual games. So hyper casual games are sort of like mass casual, dopamine hit entertainment games. Mm-hmm. And generally, the audience for those isn't actually gamers, right? It's just consumers, Gen Z, Gen Y, boomers, whatever you want to kind of call it, but people that don't actually identify as like a hardcore gamer. So we've been building for 3 years. We've had over now about 130, 140 million downloads in 3 years with about 5 million active players. But since day one, we've always had this vision and thesis that blockchain technology is fascinating for disrupting of quite a tired Web 2 gaming, but also, the unsexy part, but important revenue part, the sort of gaming monetization model. So we've been quietly building for 3 years, the tech, and kind of fast forward to where we are now with a kind of 5th biggest blockchain game, like overall out of all games. We're not a single game, we're an ecosystem of casual games. So we have 40 plus PlayEmber games, our first party games. Hugo had MB on, so that's our own sort of IP. Right. And then we also have a platform and publish games as well. So we have 3 games in development currently for Pixelmon, for Cool Cats, and we just announced a great partnership with Wab and the team at Sappy Seals. And we actually have games. What people don't realize is we've always been really curious about all the different ecosystems. So we have games on Near, we have 10 games on the Lightning Network. We have Pixelmon coming to IMX, and Sappy Seals will be on Monad, and we're just about to announce another partner game that will be coming to a new chain. So we'll be live on 5 different blockchains.
Wow.
So you're catching us at a great time. Still very early. Like, job is not done by any means.
Okay.
But today people talk about mass onboarding. We've created like 10 million like PlayEmber accounts. So that is a Web2 player coming into our ecosystem, finding content, and creating a Web3 based player account and enjoying our games. So, super proud of that. But again, we've still got a long way to go. So just couldn't be happier to be on the show and really share our journey and, MB with just a, worldwide global audience. So just very excited about that.
I think that's going to play like a big role as well, like kind of seeing behind the scenes and the reality shoots, you guys in the studio developing, seeing MB. I think it will show a lot of character to you in the project when we do the shoot.
Yeah,
I
can't wait
hope
for that.
so.
The as well, our 3D modelers that kind of modeled MB and kind of do loads of the 3D art in our games. Whenever I see that, it's so impressive. Just like seeing a natural character come to life. Super cool.
And I was going to say, like, it's quite interesting because, like, first and foremost, you are game developers first. Like, you make games. Like, that's it. These are games, and it's kind of like, you have a lot of experience already, and you have all these kind of projects under your belt that you've already kind of been successful on. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, I think the key thing is, because we've seen a lot of friends fail coming in from Web 2, right? It's not as simple as, we just make games, we're great at games, you're going to succeed in Web 3. I think there's a few things early on that we've been in the space longer than we're building the company, so we kind of know from the sort of crypto space how important like culture and community are. So that's something that we've been building, and also just being an active part of the community. So I mentioned those 3 games we're building. It's not just about PlayEmber. We're here to support like other projects that have strong aspirations to bring their IP into mobile gaming and to mass consumers. So that's a really kind of key pillar that we build around, is cross IP. So it's a great way for other people to discover PlayEmber and MB, but just amazing that we get to build alongside it's just amazing projects, like Pixelmon, one of the biggest projects in gaming, Wab, like he himself actually is a massive gamer, but just the culture and the memes he's built at Sappy Seals and the community. And then, Klon, just a real creative visionary over at Cool Cats, and just creates beautiful art. So it's amazing to be working with them. And we've got 2 more that we've signed, not even to be announced yet. So that's a really key part of our ecosystem. It's not just about PlayEmber and MB. It really is about building this space together. And I think Hugo and I really enjoyed that about Web3 versus Web2 can be very, very competitive, right? About all these kind of walled gardens, and you're competing against everyone else. You don't generally collaborate. So I think that's one of the things that we just enjoy every day about like Web3.
Awesome. I mean, I've looked at your stuff, right? You've got the Web2 games, you've got the Web2 users, and now you're coming into Web3 and you've been building it. And I've seen your deck, right? Game development, publishing, you got IP and digital assets, infra and tooling. So I think what people need to know is this is not just a game, right? You keep talking about ecosystem, right? You are actually building a proper ecosystem here. The publishing and distribution looks interesting to me. The IP and assets, I'm still haven't deep dived into that, and I think that one other thing that's really interesting when I saw your stuff is that your DEX is 70% conversion rate from Web 2 into Web 3. That's something one of the highest I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did, we've just done a lot of testing. You don't want to assume anything, but one of the key beliefs was, okay, mobile gaming's great, but it's also quite IP led. So we saw early on that players get very attached to characters and cosmetics, less so about like a player account or an ID system. It's very inhuman, right? You can't really get excited about that so much. And then look at Web3, like no surprise there, people love personal expression through kind of PFPs, right? It's kind of a part of who you are. So I think that we kind of discovered really early on. And then usually in kind of casual games, I mean, in casual games, generally you do get individual games that are quite a lot bigger, like one-off games. But as you go down, it generally is like an ecosystem of games in kind of in Web 2. So when we thought about it in terms of Web 3, what we wanted to build, we have this sort of IP layer of discoverability. So, MB. So you can discover just MB through this, through kind of like a Web 2 mobile game. There's no Web 3 in it at all. And the goal of that is just discoverability and starting to understand this character and be like, okay, well, where do I find more, rather than just going straight in with a lot of heavy like Web 3 things that typically some projects might do. So for us, it's about trying to create this discoverability layer of games and mobile games, but also said now we've got games on Roblox, Nintendo Switch, so just people can discover who we are and what we're building. And then in the middle that we try and drive people towards, that's kind of our growing Web3 hub that's at the early stages of development. And then it was really important to us to just, again, be discoverable across many ecosystems in Web3. So as I mentioned, we're closing in on 5. We'll probably be on 7 different chains by the end of the year. And that's where these third-party games come in as well. It's just about discoverability, other communities kind of discovering who we are, right? Rather than, just doing like an announcement or, let's say vaporware is a common term in Web3. It's actually, look, here's a game. We're creating a fun piece of content for you to come and play and enjoy. So that's really how we think about our, like a genuine ecosystem that kind of works together.
All right. I mean, talking about discoverability, right? I mean, one of the things I spoke to you about when we met and we talked some time ago, was about using the show, to get, and have a strong call to action, right? Having a strong call to action on the show so you can use the show for more user acquisition, people to know about you and user acquisition, and leading to your point about discoverability, right? What do you think is, I always, last time we spoke about how can you use the show to get that call to action and get people to say, oh, wow, this is happening. And, what is the one thing you want people to do when they're watching the show and getting to know you guys?
So I think that's where MB comes in, right? I mean, talking to Sam, the producer, like this is a show that it's not a hardcore crypto show, right? There's amazing crypto projects on it, but the people watching it are just consumers that will have no knowledge of like blockchain. So for a project like PlayEmber, we just want them to see the IP and see the games. It's something they're going to understand. They have got phones, they know how to download games. So it's really about bringing the character to life and our story and vision. And then, like when I've watched Dragon's Den before, what do? You see something you go straight on Google or check out their socials, right? So that's really our vision and strategy for the show. There's some stuff that just isn't live yet that's being worked on, like 24/7, that will be live when the show actually streams, so that you can really get a strong sense of kind of where we are, but where we're going. It's really not about coming on the show and talking about our white paper and our deep technology. Of course, some judges are going to ask about that, but for consumers watching, it's really just trying to help them understand who MB is, right? And I think that's what we're excited about, because we haven't actually spoken that even to our holders or in terms of Web3, and have been working really hard on the character and the lore. So some of that is definitely going to come across before the show, but also on the show. So that's really what we'll be using the show for, is just to tell the story of who we are and who MB is.
Awesome. Now there are a whole ton of questions coming in, but before we go to the questions, right, I just want to check with you. Have you guys sorted out the reality shoot yet with Sam? I know it's supposed to be a consensus, but that didn't work out in the end, right?
Yeah, I've got a call with him tomorrow evening just to talk about it. So we're going to be doing it in London.
London? Okay, awesome.
So fingers crossed. If you just heard a massive bang, we're in London. It's like in June, and it's like thunder and lightning. So fingers crossed when we do the filming, it's not going to be like torrential rain.
And
become the rain. It wouldn't be England without a bit of rain in there,
Yeah, I'm just thinking about practically the size of the umbrella you would need to put over MB's head. It's not even like bigger than golf size, right? You'd need like a custom-made umbrella to cover.
You need
MB's
a beach
head.
one, a parasol.
Yeah, beach umbrella, like a parasol, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. So you know what? the questions are piling up. So why don't we just go straight into it? I'm going straight from the top. And Casey, as usual, Casey is from our community, and he's always like, with tons of questions. So it's normal, right? So don't be shocked. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go to his second question. The first question was not really a question, but let's go to the second one. You are backed by big names of the crypto industry. Could you share with us how much Shima, Big Brain, and others have funded this project? Okay.
Yeah, of course. So we did a pre-seed a couple of years ago now. We raised around 2.4 million in total. And about of that 2.4, around 1 million was also a non-dilutive grant from the Near Foundation. So we're incredibly grateful for their support. We have actually just closed. We've not announced it yet, but we've just closed our latest round of funding with some just amazing supporters, VCs and strategic investors that have joined the round. So we will also announce that soon as well.
Okay, cool. I'm going to skip a few questions. We won't talk so much about tokens and stuff like that. Let's go straight into more gaming stuff. Okay. KJ's next question: casual hyper gaming is very interesting, but the market is saturated with hundreds of gaming projects. What will set you apart?
So I don't disagree. I think gaming in general is saturated, Web 2 and even Web 3. Every day in my feed, there's another TCG AAA shooter Web 3 game. So really quickly for us, like gaming is a science. So you don't just make a game. That's not a clever strategy, right? We actually start off with making a YouTube video or a playable ad. And what we're looking for is data confirmation that matches to all of the metrics that we have that tell us, okay, this can move to the next stage of development, let alone a game. So we run that process every time. And Hugo and I have been doing this for 15 years. And so in terms of data validation for PlayEmber, in 3 years, we've had over 130 million downloads. We've got 5 million active players. So it shows you, that's a validation of this data-led process. And then to Joseph's point earlier about the conversion rate, that's after 3 years of just constant testing and iteration. So really hope that just like in casual games is like a $50 billion Web 2 industry. I really hope that it will be that in Web 3, and there's going to be a number of major players. So it's not just going to be PlayEmber for sure, but I think the winners that you'll see are going to be ones that are absolutely data-led, that understand distribution, but also have a heavy element of Web3 natives in their team, so that can also have some new kind of game loops, very community-driven. So yeah, I think that's certainly how we approach it.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to just ask the next question, which is from Martin, which is I think builds up on this question. And since you guys know how to do it, you know how to get downloads, you know how to get people to play games. I've spoken to many Web3 gaming projects, and to be honest, none of them have released and distributed games in the real world. They're just coming into the space and say, I love games, but you guys have actually done it. Like, the numbers are incredible. So I think I'm going to ask Martin's question here: what makes a good Web3 game? Okay, because you know how to make casual games for Web 2, but what makes a good Web3 game? And that's an interesting question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think ultimately a good game is a good game. So I think sometimes, and it's hard not to get caught up on kind of the Web 3 elements and the Web 2 elements. But yeah, at its core, it just needs to be a good game that people want to play and want to keep on coming back to. I suppose on the Web 3 GameFi side, if we were talking more GameFi, I think there needs to be that element of risk versus reward. Like, shall I put more in, or shall I take a riskier approach to get more reward? And that does actually work in Web 2 as well. But I think even more so in Web 3, people want that, not gambling, but kind of light gambling element where, can I win? Can I do well here?
I think that's a really, really interesting point. Sometimes we forget, right? It's just about the game, right? And I think also the thing is that, a lot of Web3 games, just the steps involved to get into the game it's horrible, right? Like, this one game I tried, it's 12 steps. I'm like, come on. With the typical Web2 game, I'm just in really, really fast. I had to take 12 steps. And the fact that you guys can get such a high conversion, I think you really thought about these things.
I think it also is just down to audience, right? I think that's the thing, right? There are just some amazing, to Hugo's point, in Web3, I'd argue people don't actually want to play a game. The game they're playing is this social PvP trading game, which is like highly addictive. Like I go down a rabbit hole and lose hours of my evening doing it. So I think, if you look at what's happening on like Blast at the moment, that for me is Web3 gaming. And if you're building for that audience, that's what you need to build. If you're building for like a consumer audience and building consumer experiences. So the only example I can think of right now that is a really great reference is what Luca and the incredible Pudgy team are doing, for example, right? Is building those consumer-led experiences. Well, that's powered by blockchain technology, but the way they're onboarding people through toys is very, very clever. So that's a great reference for us because Hugo and I have not put toys in Walmart before, but we are, as we've kind of discussed, very good at distributing like games, right? So that's really how we see it. We're building, blockchain powered gaming experiences for consumers, and that's how our whole system is designed, right? And their expectations and what they want. To your point, Joseph, they don't want, they don't want, and they don't necessarily understand what, let's say, Web3 natives understand. So I think it's really important that you design your ecosystem for fundamentally who your audience is. And I think you can waste a lot of time getting trapped between the two.
So, I mean, like the fact that you guys are so good at getting these gamers in and converting them into Web3 gamers, right? That's an asset in itself. That's a strong value proposition. Is that why you decided to go into publishing and distribution and that Ember ID system and all that, just so the other games could come in and just feed off that user base? Is that the thinking behind it?
Yeah, so I think you've obviously got the front end. So when you start building games and you've got lots of players, by default you kind of then start having your own ad network because you've got lots of inventory in there and you've got lots of players. And then, when we started to think about like Web3, so kind of diving into the sort of technical, unsexy, but very powerful part behind our ecosystem. Yes, we've got IP and we've got games, but if you think about what's powering that behind the scenes and what we're still at the early stages of building out, but is a identifier that links together your Web3 profile and your Web2 profile, right? So versus just knowing what you do in Web3 or what you do in Web2, that's a kind of key part of this. And then, as you mentioned, in terms of distribution, we're here doing cross IP experiences. So we've announced 3, as I mentioned earlier. So for those that might have joined late, we're building mobile games or mobile Web3 games for Pixelmon, Cool Cats. We've just announced Sappy Seals. We've got 2 more in development. That's where we're here to support, kind of Web3 native brands that are great at like community building, memes, already got strong social channels that we can align with as part of distribution. But building mobile games, as we discussed, is a real area of expertise. Just like in Web2, you get all the big movie studios partner with game developers because they're great at building movies. Games developers are great at building games. Right. Likewise in Web3, we're here to support any brand or Web3 native PFP project that wants to make a really cool, it doesn't even have to be a mobile game. The next one we'll announce is actually a PWA. It's not a native Unity-based mobile game. Okay. So that's really where we're like, okay, well, it makes total sense to open this up to the wider Web3 audience now, the kind of distribution and tools that we've built. So there's going to be continued investment in that part of the business as well as our own IP MB.
Awesome. Let me get back to the questions. I have another question leading up to, but more focus on the show. But I'll just get into some of the questions. Casey's question about revenue. I think that's an interesting one. What is your current revenue? How many minutes have been played so far? Tons and tons. What are your downloads so far? I think we answered, but I think it's good to answer again. Downloads and active users. Do you have those numbers on top of your head or just ballpark?
Yeah, so we post. I mean, if you look on our Twitter and if you jump in our Discord every week, like Hugo will post weekly development updates with all the latest download numbers, minutes played, games. Right, it's all there for everyone to see. So people talk about building in public. We do that. Probably need to be a bit better on Twitter. We don't do it as regularly, sort of on Twitter for everyone else. But if you go to our pinned tweet, there's some numbers in there that you can find.
PlayEmber, is that right?
Sorry.
Just go to PlayEmber on Twitter.
Play_Ember on Twitter.
Yeah, okay.
If you check out our pinned tweet, there's kind of a thread there with in May with the sort of latest summary of our our ecosystem game. So there's stuff on there. There's a link to our DAP Radar page. You can jump onto DAP Radar and look at DAU, MAU.
Awesome. Okay, good. Yeah, the numbers are looking good. I'm looking at it right now on my phone. That's amazing. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask, like, okay, so on the show, right, there's going to be a few components, right? There is the reality shoot, which you guys are planning with Sam. That's for the audience to get to know you guys and see you in action a little bit, and that's going to be different from Shark Tank because Shark Tank doesn't really have that. We will have also this pressure cooker. That's a new concept, which we haven't shared with our audience yet. I'm going to share the first time, where it's a room where all of you will be sitting, and there'll be some KOLs there interacting with you, where you can watch and see the others pitching and interact. And we want to get some more footage of you and some other more like light, casual, more realistic, situations. And of course, then there's the pitch, right? The pitch, okay. I mean, there's so much to talk about for PlayEmber. How do you guys feel, ready that you got this pitch lined up, and there's so many things you can talk about: the game development, the ecosystem. Right? How are you going to do this?
Yeah, it's sometimes one of our biggest challenges because unlike, let's say, some people building a game, they're just literally building one game. That's it, right? Or maybe there's a game and there's a bit of infrastructure. Whereas for us, there's our own games, there's the MBIP games, there's mobile games, Roblox, Nintendo Switch, there's publishing, there's tech. So I think, we've been thinking a lot about going back to earlier and talking to Sam about really who the audience are for this TV show, right? And your question, Joseph, like if you're just going to tell them one thing and you want them to remember one thing about us, what is that? And it's definitely not hardcore tech infrastructure, white papers, SDKs, because they just switch off, right?
Right.
So I think that's how we're preparing for it, and we're taking it really seriously. We're trying to, we're basically trying to prepare something that anticipate. We can kind of anticipate what the questions are going to be because the judges are, huge OGs in crypto from all aspects. So we're making sure we're prepared for some really, really tough questions around the tech and the product and the vision, but also making sure that we, when it's our turn just to pitch before they ask the questions, that we really do land the sort of consumer play here and keep it at a level that the people watching can engage with, because for us that's just super important.
Right. And just going on to Casey's next question about the thing he said, considerable amount of marketing and 300 million audience. You saw that one, right? I want to talk about that a little bit, right? Because the way we're setting up, we're going to have this streaming platform with over 200 million household distribution. Then after that, we've just signed up with like 20 over local and regional channels. That's about 100 and another 130 million households altogether. We're signing up more and more channels, but I think I told you, John, how it's going to work is it's going to be on the streaming platform first, and then after that it's going to be on the local channels, but they're going to do reruns for the next 3 to 5 years, So technically speaking, you'll be having audiences for the next 3 to 5 years, and of course the temptation is to talk about everything. But I remind everyone, think about the call to action. Think about the user acquisition you can get from this. If you just think about them as, your core users and what you want them to do from this and what you want to gain from that, right? So because you guys have so much to cover, right? So I'm so glad you're thinking about it and preparing it. I think that'll be useful. But to Casey's second question, will you be shilling right stream hard on your social platforms? We have like, like joint marketing campaigns lining up. We've been on an embargo. We couldn't talk about the show and all that. I think I shared that with you, but we can start sharing it from the 15th onwards. It's not going to be like explosion 15. It's going to be slowly. We'll start ramping up all the way until the first episodes. Filming is going to be in August, early August with these guys, and then everyone will be flying in. First episodes will be dropping, I think, late September, early October. But I think we finally got these dates locked in. But yeah, I think, KJ, to answer your question, I think it's for us to answer that, is that there will be joint marketing things coming up, but we just have to share the playbook with these guys. And I'm sure you guys are going to support 100% with the marketing. Why not?
Indeed.
Yeah, of course. I mean, from our side, why would you not when you get an opportunity like this? There's going to be so much content from things like this.
Yeah.
The shoot, like Kenny was saying, we'll have to discuss legally what we can do, but behind the scenes footage with our mascot, getting the mascot to the show, just hanging out with other contestants. We've seen, we know we've got some friends on the show, so actually that's going to be really nice. Like,
yes,
might even get them wearing the mascot just when we're off duty. Yeah. But yeah, it's of course, like when you've got this amount of content, we're going to be working really hard to promote it. And as I mentioned, we're building something specifically that's going to be live for when our episode is aired as well, so that there's something brand new that the kind of consumers watching this around the world can engage with. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, and I'm excited that it's been really hard for us, but we managed to recruit about 150 KOLs, to support us all the way until the last episode drops. So we're going to engage them like middle of this month, all the way until then, to do promotions. But of course, not every single one of them will be activated every single time. I'm going to drop you guys a note on this, like which are the target countries that you want to focus on. Then we get KOL, so focusing on those markets to see if we can, do some joint promotion around that. Let me go to the next point. Subvert. We love
Subvert. Subvert's one of our holders.
Yeah. Hey, we love you too, Subvert.
There we go. Yeah. So you can tell, right? When the community loves a project, that's a strong validation right there. Okay.
Yeah, we got to give us. Was that his comment? Was it literally "We love Hugo and John"? Or is there a question? Oh, brilliant.
No, there was that, and then there was this.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, look, Subvert is just a great human being and just a great advocate for Web3 in general. I mean, he was name checked on, Ray from Memeland was doing a Spaces and kind of name checked Subvert as, like if you were, just someone that is really here for the community. So yeah, for us, just can't thank Subvert enough for all the stuff that he writes about us and all the ideas and yeah. So appreciate you, Subvert. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. Good to have you here as well. I think these are PlayEmber's communities. Quite a few of them are here. No questions yet, just praising you and
they've been trained well in Discord.
Very well, huh?
Only praise, no questions.
So obviously our community is getting to know you, right? So of course they'll have tons of questions. Casey's next question. I'm sorry, but it's so many from here. I just have to get through. But I thought the questions quite good. What are your most popular games?
So our most popular ones are Raft Life. And actually, the Web3 crowd really like Raft Life. It's like a farming idle arcade game. So imagine like Castaway. You've just got like one little tile of your raft, and then you build it up, and it can go absolutely huge. We've got a game called Hypercards, which is a card trading game, and that was a #1 card game in, I think it was over 50 countries. So it went down really well. Kind of think Pokemon, kind of opening cards, that really addictive loop. And we've got a lot more as well. Some pretty weird ones about like reversing a truck, and that's got millions of downloads. And one we're really excited about actually is one on Roblox. So that's already had over 1 million plays, and the stats are really, really promising there. So yeah, very excited about that one.
Nice. I noticed you have like questing games as well, right? I saw that. Was I right or wrong? or I'm mistaken. I saw not questing games, but a questing feature. Journey. I saw the deck. Journey, sign up, quest, level up, collect. The phase 1 mission to onboard the first 1,000,000 players onto Web3. Right? What was that
Yeah.
questing?
So there's we had like a really simple version live of this. Kind of that's more Web3 sort of like these sort of like quests, like do this and get points, get points. So we had some experimentation around that. What's being built is a more like robust platform that for us helps. It's certainly not a farming system, but it's a questing platform just to help people discover, because we don't just have one game, right? We've got 40 games. So to help people discover other games, or think of it a bit like a giant treasure hunt, right? Okay. So you're going to potentially maybe have a character, and a way of evolving that character and collecting more stuff is by playing different games, and different games may have some cosmetics in, others don't. So think of it as a sort of a quest system, sort of powering that that game loop across all these games, versus what we've been very clear from the start we're not here to do is just a sort of play to farm game, right? Because for me that's a different type of game, and I think it's certainly got a role to play in Web3. But yeah, this is about playing actual games and having fun.
Wow. I mean, it's really ambitious. Right? The number of things you guys are doing, it's insane, right? Let's go to the next question. There's a question for Rightstream. Ryan Leger. Right? Sorry, I can't pronounce it. We want a Hulk movie. Release the tank cut. Okay. Are there ever going to be any Rightstream original movies? I don't know, but CryptoKnights is Rightstream original content, so CryptoKnights is going to be is our own show, self-funded. But we have movies lined up. Jackie Chan is doing a sequel to his movie, and he's fundraising right now. So we're looking through the materials right now, and we do definitely want to support, because the first movie did really, really well. I think did 200 million in the box office. He's directing this movie. I mean, the guy's a machine. He does fantastic work, and he really knows how to make it like a business, profitable, successful distribution movie. So we've got about 10 different movies lined up from different guys. Another one from El Sapienza. He was from The Sopranos. He wants to do a series. So he's been talking to his agent about working with us for fundraising. There are quite a few. There's some coming out of Africa as well, like very localized content. But for us to do our own original movie, no, we are more into reality TV. So if you look at the stuff that we won awards, the Emmy nomination and the awards that we won is more for reality shows. So that's more right up our alley. Movies are a totally different thing, But we will support them. We've been looking for an RWA play to help with the crowdfunding, and talking to various partners to see how we can execute that, right? But the first POC for this crowdfunded Web3 crowdfunded play is CryptoKnights, all right? Okay, so let's go. My God, so much from KZ. Is there anybody else? Okay, there we go. We got someone else. Oyetayo. I can't pronounce the first one. Fian Folua. That's a tough one. Any plans for the game to be mobile? I think they are, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, they're mostly mobile games, or like the PWA games we're working on are accessible for like browser or mobile. But it's back to that earlier question about who are your audience, like where are they, and what's the platforms that they want the game on. So if you're thinking about like consumer casual gamers, heavy mobile, I think Web3 definitely is mobile, but from all the stats we're seeing, a lot of it is like browser-based sort of PC, and then from the gamers there generally is a lot of console, like console PC gamers versus hardcore mobile gamers.
All right. So I skipped quite a lot of questions. We have the 45-minute mark. You guys see anything that? Oh, that's one from Fam Ewald. He's from our community, and he says, "I like PlayEmber. You get my vote." All right.
I appreciate that.
You're already winning over hearts here.
Already winning over, right? Next one from Oyetayo again. What jobs can I do for PlayEmber? What do you mean, what jobs can I do for? I don't get the question. Did I
What,
miss something?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not actively hiring at the moment,
okay.
but obviously, welcome to join our community and play our games, just meet our community. There's plenty of like MB gifts, like if you want to share them, or just create any fun content. We love MB fan art. It's really interesting about building a brand in Web3. Because we've seen MB, we've seen some amazing anime sort of 2D MBs that have got us thinking about, because Japan is a really important country to us, both in terms of gaming royalty, but Web3 as well. So we love fan art. We try and see as much as we can, because it really gives us ideas about where to develop MB. And the question we always get is, does MB have any friends, right? So of course MB is going to need some friends. We don't want MB to get lonely, so all of this is kind of being thought about.
I love how you bring that character and you make that connection with the character. So interesting. I think it's something we can learn from you as well.
Yeah,
sure.
I think so. I love it too. I really love it. It's like it has a lot of personality, charm, and character to it, and it's almost like the whole building of the world is something I really love. I love when developers do that for a character.
And I like your graphics as well. The graphics are so cute. I mean,
that too.
Perfect, right? Sometimes I see people attempting it, but just the dimensions and the shape just don't look, right. But yours looks right to me. I was in the gaming world, right? I don't know if you guys know this.
What did you do?
I was with Xbox for a few years. I was involved in the launch for Halo and Mass Effect.
The big ones.
I was going to say Halo. I was going to say, like, that's like peak Xbox is like Halo.
Yeah.
But for the Asia Pacific region, So, but that was a long time ago, guys. I forgot. I used to play like hardcore. I was hardcore gamer.
Yeah.
Now I just play solitaire.
Joseph and his LAN parties. That's how it used to be, right?
Totally different ball game, right? That time, the console games is really, really different. And I was also with a few free-to-play games. Some really, really big ones. Like the biggest one was this game which was doing $1 million a day in revenue. It's insane. But I was not really deeply involved. Just kind of like connected with it somehow. But anyway, that was a long time ago. Let's see. Any other questions? Oh, that's an interesting one from Kezia. PlayEmber, please, a request from Kezia. PlayEmber, please push Joseph to give me a guest appearance on the show. We'll see. He's coming down to Singapore. I'm meeting you for dinner or something, right, Kezia? Yeah. We're catching up. Next question.
Lots of good questions from Casey, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I see new ones coming in. Let's see. Alpha, very cool AMA guys. I'm waiting for news and updates. Just follow them on Twitter and the Telegram, guys. Fam, can you say which age groups play your games?
I guess you know the demographics, like who your core audience.
Yeah, so basically 18 to 45, and it's actually a split of like 50-50 male and female, which always tends to surprise people. It even kind of goes a little bit more female than male.
I guess
it depends on the category, because we build across 3 genres of games, so it really will vary also by game and by country. I think the other interesting thing is, and it's what we kind of see with MB, is obviously there's very clear rules about advertising to people of a certain age, certainly children. And it's really interesting. We see very big spikes, particularly at weekends, of iPad traffic. And usually we attribute that to, like mom, dad, auntie, uncle giving their iPad to, to the kid. So it's interesting. We're not specifically building our games for children, but it's obviously interesting to see that, there is an affinity there with the IP for a just much broader audience, as we start thinking about, how big MB can be.
Interesting. All right, cool. Next question from Ian. Okay. Ian Hogsgrave is like he's from Harry Potter or something. Feels like it. Okay. I saw a lot of games from PlayEmber on the Play Store. Most of these games had Bitcoin in the title, thumbnail. will the MB mascot replace the Bitcoin in the upcoming game from now on?
Yeah, so I think earlier when we give the context, so we have games on 3 different chains, soon 4. So the story behind the Bitcoin games was we were looking at the Lightning Network, and we saw a huge appetite in certain parts of the world where people are very happy to play casual games and earn fractional amounts of Bitcoins that they can directly off ramp and spend on, real world items, right? Some countries even pay your rent in Bitcoin. So those games actually have got their own Discord, their own Twitter, and there's around about 50K daily active users of those games. So a very valued part of our ecosystem, but a very different profile to the sort of casual IP loving gamer that is enjoying MB right now, because they're not coming in to earn, they're just coming in to just experience great IP and games. And as we move them down the funnel, there's some other fun things that they're going to be able to do. So yeah, the MB is definitely not there to replace the Bitcoin games. We've now got 10. So we're looking at the data there pretty closely, and depending on what makes sense, we'll release more games. But again, it's just another way that a more Web3 native audience can discover our ecosystem. And the other interesting thing we see on that, you see a direct correlation with the macro. So when Bitcoin starts moving, we see just more organic players coming in to those games and searching for Bitcoin-based games. So it's actually a key App Store or ASO reason that Bitcoin's in the name, because people are actually searching for Bitcoin games now, which is kind of interesting. We're certainly not a mass adoption yet of these Bitcoin games, but they're a really important part of our ecosystem. But MB won't be in the Bitcoin games. It's quite a different audience.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, I think we're down to there are quite a few other questions, but I think we just got down to last question by Alpha Eve. Okay. I'm still curious, what are your plans for the points that we receive for NFTs? Can you talk about that? Because I don't think our audience knows about this.
Yeah, so at the moment, if you have one of our MB NFTs, what we've been doing is, so long as they're sort of delisted, you've been getting MB points each day for those that you've been able to do a bunch of things with. So one of the most popular things is just entering kind of raffles for NFT prizes. We're going to load up some new prizes pretty soon. But there's the sort of next chapter of our journey that we're working on, and those points are going to have some utility in terms of what's coming. That's all I can really share at the moment.
All right, cool. Okay, let's see. Fam says, what I like about PlayEmber is that you really understand how the market works. Thumbs up. Nice. Okay. All right, I think that's a nice way to wrap up. So, guys, I'm so excited. To have you guys on the show. I have a lot of questions about token and token utility, but we're not going to talk about this now. All right. It's expected, right? Every Web3 AMA that these questions are going to come out. But how can people find out more about that? Where can we direct them?
Yeah, so you can check out our Twitter. There's a lot of information in there, regularly updated about the project, the games, the partners. We've had we just did a energy party with Pixels last Friday. I've got a Spaces right off this with Nifty Island. One of our holders, Centurion, has built an entire MB world within Nifty Island. So that's all on there. You can jump into our Discord, lots of information there. As you can tell, we're both docs. So if you look on YouTube, you can find podcasts, us speaking about Web3 gaming. So there's lots of information on there. And if you just search on Twitter, you can find lots of people talking about PlayEmber, and a lot of the questions I see in the comments about the token. There's lots of people talking about that on Twitter currently. I saw one this morning that tagged us in.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry about not going into that topic today. All right. We just want to talk about the game in the show. And we'll focus on that some other time. Okay. Anyway, look, the marketing campaigns for the show is going to start soon. We'll have a 1-minute sizzle reel We'll let you guys know about that because then we can start broadcasting. You guys have seen it. You've seen the 4-minute version. We've cut it down to a 1-minute version. You guys have seen it, haven't you?
Did you show that to me on a call? I think maybe. I saw
Don't
some
think I
teaser
have.
version. I'm not sure I've seen the full 4-minute version.
It was a 4-minute version. It was long.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So we're going to share that soon, and then your community will also be able to have a look at it and get to understand what the show is about. I mean, the concept has changed so much since the last time we spoke and since we filmed that sizzle reel. But we didn't want to film another one. We just want to go straight into a reality shoot, straight into the studio. Time is coming up very, very fast. A lot of preparation. So we're going to keep bugging you guys for information and form fillings and all that. Thank you so much for your time. Really excited about PlayEmber. Really excited to see you and MB on the show. All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, can't wait for it. Really, really
All
excited.
right, guys. Both
Yeah,
of you,
thanks, guys.
right? Both of you flying down.
Yeah, we will
All
be.
right. Awesome. Excellent.
Brilliant.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All the best and take care. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.